Good morning, everybody. Ping in everybody or anybody that you want. I'll be ready to go in about 2 minutes. Good morning. Welcome to Workbook Lesson 120. I rest in God today and let Him work in me and through me while I rest in Him in quiet and in perfect certainty. And this morning, like all the other mornings, I'm going to read from Tom's book, Understanding A Course in Miracles Workbook Lessons. We're on Lesson 120. These are the review lessons. They're nice and relaxing, peaceful and easy. Lesson 120 is a summary lesson of 109 and 110. And the two lessons are: truth will correct all errors in my mind, and to give and to receive are one in truth. Today, I rest in God and let God work in me and through me while I rest in God in quiet and in perfect certainty. I am as God created me. I am God's son, and today I lay aside all sick illusions of my little self and let my Father tell me who I really am. So today, every day on the hour, I rest in God, and on the half hour, I am as God created me. Today, we're going to keep it simple. Take a nice deep breath and hold that breath in. Hold that oxygen in and hold it for a moment. Let's get into a little bit of a rhythm of nice deep breathing, slowing our minds down, helping them get receptive. Nice and relaxing this morning. Take another deep breath. Hold it in. And today, our message is simple. Today, God's correcting all errors in our mind. And we find that whatever we give, we receive immediately. Giving and receiving are one in truth. Take another deep breath. Relax your belly so your lungs can expand as fully as possible. And hold that breath. And let it out with a nice controlled outer breath. Let's do a 6-second breath. Breathing in for 6, 5, 4. Keep breathing in. 2, 1, and hold it for me. 4, 3, just a bit more. And now exhale with control. Nice, long exhale. 3, 2, 1. A nice deep breath in with 6, 3. Keep breathing in and hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2. And exhale with control. Nice outward breath. 2, 1. Come back to your normal rhythm of breathing, but stay in a relaxed state. Let that part of your body that's connected to the earth, the part of your body that's supporting you, let that part of your body know it's completely supported. And watch it light up each of the areas of our spine that we call chakras. Watch each of them light up, coming from the root at the bottom, the base of your spine or your feet, if you're standing, fully rooted, taking care of all of your physical needs. And then up into your abdomen, all of your warmth into your solar plexus, fire, power, vitality, into your green heart, air and love, peace, into your throat, communication and sound, this blue, cool blue, your third eye, right in between your eyes, your intuition, a beautiful dark indigo, to your crown chakra at the top of your head, at the end of the visible spectrum, and moving above, looking down through each of your chakras, creates a beautiful white light, your spirit, the purpose you're here, to realize that you are more than your body and help others see the same. Today we're at the end of our summary lessons, and we've made our third transition into the lessons. This is the third set of reviews that we've done, each of them taking us deeper into the lessons they support. Today, I rest in God and let Him work in me and through me while I rest in Him in quiet and perfect certainty. I am as God created me. I am God's son or daughter. Today, I lay aside all sick illusions of myself and let my Father tell me what I really am. Every hour, say to yourself, I rest in God. What a perfect lesson for a Saturday. On the half hour, I am just as God created me. Perfect, whole, complete. I am. I am. I am as God created me. Perfect, whole, and complete. Allow yourself to remain resting in God all day, even as you go about your business. Take this moment with you, remembering that you are exactly as God created you, perfect, whole, and complete. Don't be distracted by what your eyes show you. They can only see a little bit. There is so much more to the universe than meets the eye. Today, stay in this space. Carry it forth to your brothers and sisters so they can be at peace as well. Today we do as our brother Jesus tells us to do, bringing peace, remembering God's love, and sharing it with all of our brothers and sisters. Beautiful people, we've already accomplished more in our day than most people will all day long. Taking a moment to reacquaint ourselves with the Holy Spirit and being able to hear the deep truths that are inside of us, always available to us. Now is the time. Today is the day. We wake and rest in God. You can dwell in this space. I'm going to go and read one of our sections on notes. Everything's okay today. I'm okay, even if I do stuff out of the order I created. So today I'm going to read from the notes of Lesson 110. I am as God created me. I didn't make it all the way there. I got stopped on paragraph 7 of the lesson. The 5-minute practice periods for lesson 110. I am as God created me. God's Son can suffer nothing, and I am God's Son. With this statement that I am as God created me, God's Son can suffer nothing, and I am God's Son, firmly in your mind. Try to discover the big S self, the higher self in you, who is the Holy Son of God Himself. Seek your higher self within you, who is the Christ in you, the Son of God and brother to the world, the Savior who has been forever saved, with the power to save whomever touches your higher self, however lightly, asking for the word that tells him who perceives they are separate that he is a brother unto your higher self. You are as God created you. Today, honor your higher self. Let the graven images of idols that your ego made replace the Son of God instead of your higher self, not to be worshipped today. Today we will remember the higher self, the Holy Christ in you, throughout the day, with thankful hearts and loving thoughts for all who meet with us today. For it is thus that we remember the Holy Christ in you, and we will say that we may be reminded of God's Son, our holy higher self, the Christ in each of us. I am as God created me. Declare this truth as often as you can. The Word of God will set you free. I am as God created me is the key that opens the gate of heaven and lets you enter in the peace of God and your higher self's eternity. Tom's notes on this lesson 110. I am as God created me. Speaking for Tom, I'm saying lesson 110 is one of my favorite lessons because it's such a liberating idea, and I agree with Tom. Liberation from what? Well, in my case, it was liberating from my own negative image of who I was. When I was younger, I was in such a dark place. I hated myself and my life. I was mean-spirited and hateful to myself and others. I certainly was not Mr. Sunshine, Mr. Spirit of the Mountain. I felt that I deserved to be punished and have bad things happen because I was really such a bad person. As a youth, I didn't have A Course in Miracles or anyone else who would argue for my higher self. I had nothing to counterbalance or dispute my own negative self-talk and destructive opinions that I received from others. No one claimed that although my actions were inappropriate, that I myself was not evil. Instead, I was told and believed myself to be a sinful, evil person that no one could ever love. So I grew up hating the world that hated me. It took years of struggle and inner work before I was able to slowly dig out of that black hole I had created for myself. If I knew then what I know now, this idea would have saved me years of pain, suffering, and conflict. Of course, if I'd actually been introduced to that idea as a youth, it probably would have frightened me. I would have believed that any egoic god of fear had intentionally made me evil. Therefore, I would have remained stuck in that black hole of despair. This is why it's important to understand that everyone is on their own perfect path and not to judge or compare where you are on your journey of reawakening to anyone else. We do not understand the big picture. God's plan always provides the necessary learning lessons that are needed for your rapid progression toward your reawakening. Each desires these learning experiences for their own personal growth. We volunteered so that our decision maker could understand, learn, and demonstrate the power behind the thought system of love and forgiveness. When you silence the egoic mind, ask, listen, and follow the Holy Spirit's guidance, you gently reawaken to a new world. Your old fear-based world becomes a bright and joyful place. This one thought, that I am as God created me, if accepted, holds the power to heal your split mind and your world. It heals all the blame, shame, and guilt that you bear against yourself and your world. When you realize that the past has no ability to change what a God of unconditional love created, the experiences of struggle, conflict, sickness, evil, death, and suffering are recognized as items that you once required but no longer value, since they're meaningless. You realize that nothing you've imagined can change what God created. This idea heals the past and corrects all mistakes that your split mind has made at any time or place. You can lighten up and forgive yourself, for you alone are the keeper of your own karmic keys. God has never condemned anyone. This thought that you remain as God created you allows for you to accept the present just as it is. Rather than being a slave to time, time is now the means to escape from time itself. Every change that time appeared to bring has never occurred. Time, which is the measure of change, has lost its old egoic purpose, since illusions have no ability to change what God created. Your ego, like time itself, has no ability to change God's reality. God's will remains unaltered by your ego's fantasy world of fear, evil, misery, and death. Fear has no meaning and does not really exist. Appearances cannot replace the truth. The past is undone, along with time, because only the changeless that God created is real. You remain part of the unity of all and recognize that you are the Christ, the big S self, home to the Holy Spirit and God itself. The realization that you remain as God created you is the idea that births all miracles and restores the truth to your world's awareness. It ends your frantic search for the false idols that your ego believes you need to make you happy. Instead, you rest in God. So today, our question for discussion: how comforting is it to know that both God and the Holy Spirit are defending your spiritual magnificence against your ego's beliefs in littleness? All right. Dad turned off his camera. Messed it all up. Just kidding. He can't see what's going on my screens. All right. We have 3 pictures. Everything's looking nice. We have a wonderful day in front of us. It looks like all things are working in our best. for the best. I feel pretty good about this spot. I'm going to stop here. And everybody in the room's invited to come on up. I'm sure you've been invited, but I want you to know I'd love to hear from each and every one of you. So I'm going to go through and invite you in anyway. And if you can speak, that's great. And if you can't, that's okay. But let me know how your Saturday is going to go. I can't wait to have a great Saturday. Thanks for being here.
I remember that good morning, everybody. I remember that this lesson, the 110, was the one that we dwell a lot in the word created because it was in past tense, and then we went all the road to fully understand the meaning of that word. It's funny how we move forward and then we find new meaning in these words and delve into the concepts to undo what we thought we understood from these kind of symbols, right? Created for me now is complete. It is not related to time. It's more like complete. And this is one of the most enduring sessions that I have because uh, that was uh, where I got like the idea that everybody is a new person every single day, that we need to see people as new people every single day in order for us to release them from our judgment. Spirit is one, so I am. This was a very good session, the 110. I hope everybody is doing okay. I hope I already sent invites from down below. So if you want to share something, we are all here.
Good morning, Adriana. Hi, Janine. Good
Hi,
morning,
Janine. Good
everyone.
morning.
Hi, how's everyone doing? Wow. Yeah, I love this lesson too. This is definitely brings me to a beautiful place and helps me release a lot of fear thinking and also judgment realized I was carrying around uh about my I call him my colleague, I guess. The struggles in business and recognizing these lessons apply everywhere for every situation. And I needed this lesson this morning as I go forth. And I feel amazing. I feel very light and knowing God is, I am as God made me, and so is everyone else. And I don't have to live in any kind of false egoic thinking. I can just let it all go right here, right now. And it's very liberating. So thank you. Have a beautiful, beautiful day, everyone.
Beautiful. I'm really I'm enjoying this book that I told about yesterday. The book that Lee always refers to, the one with which he had a spiritual experience, the third Jesus from the Pax Chopra. And there's this chapter that it's beautiful because it talks about contemplation. It talks about how meditation, yes, is essential too for our processing, our spiritual realization that we are holy, whole, and complete. But he also talks about contemplation as part of Jesus' teachings. Because, yes, you can be in silence and still and don't do nothing like for a moment, and that will give you insight of who you really are. And that is a good thing to practice. The meditation is essential in order for you to quiet your mind. But as we are in this duality, thinking that we are a body, uh, we need to practice as well in our minds the contemplation part of our reality, because we are not we are not we cannot all day be still, quiet and silent. So when you have to go about your day and taking care of your day-to-day activities, contemplation should be the like the analogy of meditation, or yeah, I don't know how to say it, but it's like the other way of meditation in action. Because when you are interacting with people and when you're taking care of things around you, but you are in a in a contemplation state of mind, then everything that will happen in front of you will not control you, but instead it will give you information, learning. You will have uh, things to learn from those situations instead of getting attached to the to the emotion. It's a way to be responsible of us being here, because we made this decision in some point of our minds. We made the decision to be whatever, to be doing whatever we are doing. So contemplation should be a way to meditate with our eyes wide open, but with a God consciousness, I guess. When you are getting into a situation where you think that it could be stressful, or you need to address something quickly and you don't feel like you have enough time, or you have to juggle things that you don't know how to solve, just observe everything around you. Like, take a moment to just really be present, and then the word present will become the, the other concept that can have like the you you will you will see what has always been there, that it's God. So present, what has always been present in every single situation, that it's God. Contemplation is a way to do meditation with our eyes wide open. And that's how I think we should rest in God during our day.
That was so beautifully said, Adriana. That's so true. And you're right. You can't, it's tough to maintain that meditative, clear minded state as things are happening in the world. And contemplation is what we can hold on to as we proceed through our day. Just those little nuggets to bring us into the God, being mindful that God is with us, and of these ideas, instead of going back into egoic thinking. We filling our minds with, fruitful, um, supportive thinking, or I'm not using the right words probably, but higher minded thinking, and of the spirit thinking instead, to align us with the Holy Spirit. And I know meditation allows me though to easily return to that state because I know what it feels like. And the more I meditate, the more calm my mind becomes, and the more I can release thoughts that aren't mine. And so, kind of like a walking meditation. But yeah, for sure, having that contemplation is very critical.
I think that this idea that I am as God created me, it's important for us to reflect back on what kind of ego, which is our beliefs that we have about God. Whenever I was younger, I was programmed or indoctrinated or believed that God was a God of fear, not somebody that you'd want to meet in a dark alley, and that we were sinners. And coming from that belief, which I projected onto a God of unconditional love, I projected all those fear-based ideas that I had been indoctrinated into. I felt that uh, if I was screwed up, uh, that was because God created me flawed, not perfect, and very incomplete. And so it was important for me to change that idea of what God was. Now, Einstein said that the most important thing, he was asked, what's the most important thing for a person to decide for themselves about this universe? And, you used the word universe, but you could call it a force, a God, a higher power, whatever you want to call it, or universal laws. But Einstein replied that the most important thing was to decide if your universe was a supportive place or a non-supportive place. And the questioner was kind of surprised. And the reporter asked, "Well, why is that?" He was expecting Einstein to say something like uh, E equals MC squared, something like that. Yet he just said, "Is the world a supportive place?" So the reporter asked him, and he said, "Well, because how you view your world will determine how you approach life." And I can use my own life as an example. I approached it as a world of hate, and the law of God is to give is to receive. Since all that I saw was hate surrounding me, that's what I projected out, and I got the same thing back. If you see yourself uh, as this being a supportive place, you'll become optimistic. If you see this as a fearful place, you'll become a victim and you'll be in defense attack mode. So, and since ultimately, even in time and space, the law of God applies, when I project out my hate, that's what I can expect in return. And that's what I expect, and that's what I get. So, it's important for us to realize that we've been indoctrinated into a set of beliefs. And I'm going to say the ego is a set of beliefs. And in this case, my ego is a set of beliefs I believe about myself. But we create an ego for everything and everyone we come in contact with. And therefore, it's very important that we realize that if we want to make God into a God of fear, if we want to make our brothers and sisters into someone that's trying to outcompete us or defeat us, that's what we will get. So I want to create an ego for everybody and realize that that we're all actors, and that uh, the truth, not the role that we're playing, not this costume, but the truth is that we are God's beloved child, perfect, whole, and complete. And we're part of that oneness of all. And when you can, our goal, one of our objectives in life is for us not to mistake the thing we call a body token, the actor, for or the character or role that the actor's been given to play in this world with what he truly is. So my goal is to not see my brothers or sisters or anything uh, as the role that they're playing, but realize that they all also are God's beloved child, and we are all that one. Thank you.
You know what? I want to share something, and maybe you guys can help me with it. Um, I certainly don't believe things about other people. Typically, I'm usually not judgmental at all. And I was faced with attack, and in the moment of attack, I wasn't sure how to handle it. So I guess my ego just took over and I attacked back. And I wasn't proud of myself. It's not where I wanted to be. And in the midst of the argument, I was able to see myself and calm myself and bring myself back to kind of a neutral place. And but of course, the other person was still attacking me and saying things that weren't true. Because I know he was in a role he was playing, and I know that, but it still didn't feel good. It just felt really bad, because he was a person I had trusted and thought I could depend on in business, and it just everything had turned completely other direction. And I think because I'm usually such a peaceful person, I didn't even really know how to respond. So I carried that with me for a few days, and I did a lot of things to help come out of it and feel better. I think I felt the best last night. This has been going on. Um, this conflict has kind of dragged on for like over a week, and I've other people have come to my assistance. I have solutions, but I can tell you that in the moment, my mind just kind of I couldn't really go into the space of thinking about contemplating anything. I did. Of course, I prayed and asked for forgiveness and to forgive the other person and sent love and all the good stuff. But that cloak of yuckiness was just kind of all over me, and it was hurtful. The hurt was there, and I know sometimes we just have to go through that to release it. And I think not until this morning have I really felt kind of back to my old self. And I mean, maybe as I get stronger in with my practice, um, if or when something like that happens again, maybe I'll be able to just put up a stronger front and just be in peace and in neutral and seeing him the way Jesus would see him, the way Christ would see him, and invoke that.
Contemplate.
Yeah, that I don't know. I know that'll happen, but right then it didn't happen for me, and I'd like to get there quicker. I'd like to be in the face of worldly challenges. I'd like to get there quicker. It's easy right now with everyone here in this space and at home and places where people will love me. I know I'm loved and I'm safe and all that, but wow, the world can really, kick you in your butt, and say, here, take this and see how, spirit, how peaceful you are now,
How
how loving
spiritual you
you are.
are.
What did you say, Adriana?
Yeah,
Uh,
we are in this challenge just to see how spiritual we are.
Yeah, like, all right, let's see how you can take this. And I was so confused by the whole thing because it seemed to come out of nowhere. And but yeah, I know we all have our challenges, but maybe any of you could offer some kind of nuggets of advice to how
well,
to handle attack better in the moment and not slip
well,
back into ego.
I would just say that, you know, the world throws circumstances our way for us to check and see how we respond. The important thing that I would say that should take out of this as a learning experience is that you realize what you truly value, that you really valued your inner peace more than maybe arguing for your rightness. And, in this case, it sounded like, you tried to calm yourself. And really, in time and space, one of our lessons that we're trying to learn is how long will it take us to recover our inner peace? Now, your case, it may have taken a couple of days, but you knew what the project was, you knew the problem, and you were working on a solution. For other people, it might take them 20 lifetimes. Who knows? So, what we have to do is you know, all the circumstances, all the events, are here just to give us feedback so that we can see how we're doing. The important lesson that I would say out of this takeaway is that you came to the realization that uh, something different than what your ego and what we've taught, rather than argue for your rightness and continue to uh, generate negative energy, which would, come back to you anyways. You chose to try and seek peace. Uh, there's one thing that and I told my children this, it's important to realize that in time and space, it tests us. But our purpose is to maintain our inner peace, and that we can't necessarily fix or change somebody whose problem is that they don't want their problem solved by you. Whenever I was younger, uh, I was, I'll just say, a scorpion. And the nature of a scorpion is to sting people. Okay. It didn't really matter who I stung. If you were around, you got stung. And we need to realize that sometimes we've seen scorpions being placed in our life just for us to realize that even when you're being stung by a scorpion, that you value your inner peace. And sometimes the lesson is don't go around with scorpions. But, because you value your inner peace, it's only going to take you 2, 3 days to recover it, which, whenever you look back at what you might have done 3 years ago, 5 years ago, it might have taken you lifetimes. So just be in awe of your progress. Say, wow, what fantastic. I've learned a lesson. I've learned that I value my own inner peace over arguing for my rightness. And what a valuable lesson that is. So I would just say, don't get down on yourself. Just say, wow. And what's amazing is maybe tomorrow, because of that experience, I'm even going to be able to do it better. It might only take me a day, or in my case, instead of kicking the dog, maybe I'll just swear at him. But we're on our own perfect path, and just appreciate that and honor your journey. And actually, I look back at my past life, and I realized that I needed all those times that I got kicked in the teeth. I needed all those beatings. I needed all that so that I could wake up. And it was exactly what I needed. I had the perfect parents, the perfect childhood. Everything was perfect. I just didn't realize the big picture at the time. And I got stuck in chapter 3 instead of realizing that the end, you're always going to end up reawakening to the truth that you are as God created you, and God created you perfect, whole, and complete. And don't let anyone take that away, because no one can unless you choose to allow it. Thank you.
Oh, Tom, that is so beautiful.
Yes, thank you,
You know,
Tom. Perfect.
Janine, whenever I feel stuck in my ego thoughts, now I know that it's not because I'm being stubborn, it's because I need to remember something that I forgot to forgive. Something happened with me this week. I don't remember even which day it was, but I couldn't let go the feeling of feeling down, like sad or whatever. So I had to say to Lee, you know what, honey? I need to talk to you about my fears. But I need to talk to you about my fears without you taking it as a judgment to you, because this is nothing about you. It's something that has been revolving around my head for a trigger. I mean, he triggered something in me, and I was taking responsibility over that kind of feelings. And that happened with me in the past, when I was in Merida with my ex-husband as well. When my feelings, when I don't seem to find a way to move from fear to love with the easy thoughts that we have been learning in the Course in Miracles, and my feelings remains in a bad place, I know that there's something that I need to contemplate there, that I need to, like, it's not dwelling, because it's not, oh my God, this feels, no, it's like, say, this is interesting, why I have been able to move from this to feel okay, if everything is okay, actually. So when you approach this kind of circumstances, because or they are repetitive with different actors, or you just couldn't let go the feeling, is because something inside of you is trying to point at something in the past that needs to be forgiven. So when I sat that with Lee and I started to tell him, you know what, I'm super afraid of this, of that, and he sit down in front of me and he was like this therapy session taking notes. He was taking even notes because he wanted to really honor my sharing, and he did really a great job. He didn't even like took it for himself. He I was it was beautiful because it wasn't like um like a talk to force us to think differently. It was me sharing this kind of content and trying to observe the thought outside of me. I needed to take those things outside of me through a kind person like Lee in order for me to understand where those feelings came from and be really like observant of, now I know. And when I can see it clearly outside of me, then my mind releases the idea that I've been hurt, that I have been mistreated or whatever, because it realizes that it was something really from the past that needs to be forgiven because it was helpful for my life in some point, but it's not longer required for me to move forward with my new relationship, because my new relationship is a reflection now of the woman that I'm now, the woman that now understand that has always been complete, holy, and whatever, and she is just remembering that she does have a father, and the father is among everything that she sees. And I mean, it's really a beautiful way to conceive the ego, I guess. It's not making the ego a good tool, because it's not, but it is like understanding the dynamics of the ego, to let the Holy Spirit go through you and clean the belief systems that have been there for so long and you don't even remember that you had those fearful thoughts. So every single thing, every single challenge that we endure during our day-to-day basis are simply those lessons, as Tom says, that we need to realize again that there's something there that you haven't quite taken care of in your mind, that makes you think that you are not worthy, or what is it that you think that you need the other person to do because you think that you can do it for yourself. So things like that. So I hope this helped you, because for myself, in that moment when I share these things with Lee, and we can just like observe those things and we talk about it, I felt instantly out of the feeling of heaviness in my heart, and I felt really happy during the rest of the day. And that's how I have been using my ego to move from fear to love. If that helps, because I know for sure the frustration that we are learning these things, and we are in a position to understand, but when we are in the day-to-day basis, it's like really frustrating, and why I'm feeling this if I know that this is not true. So I hope it helps, my friend. And I'm glad that you share this.
Thank you, Adriana. Yes, that does help. And yeah, I mean, and you're right, is to kind of talk through it helps with a loving person. And I did that for sure. And I guess I guess these things they say, they don't come from nowhere, they come from somewhere, and it's a lesson for you. And it seems out of the blue, and it maybe it isn't. Um, and I knew there were problems with the business and things going on I needed to address. So, but it came out like that, like a slap in the face, like a wake up call. Okay, you need to manage this better. You need to do this. You need to do that. And my guy Bernard, he's a businessman, so he was really great in the moment at being very linear in his thinking. Okay, step one, step two, step three, and that was great. Um, but getting down to the root cause, I guess I'm not there yet in terms of why the ego. I did go into forgiveness. That was easy. And I went into love, of course, sending him love. And I prayed for him and prayed for myself as well. And to go into I just had to trust. I have to let go and trust God also. So yeah, that was I don't know what else
Janine,
I needed to get out of it. So maybe I still need to explore it. But I feel I've released the hurt. I feel I've released it. It's still pinging me a little bit, to be honest. Um, but yeah, thank you, Adriana. Very beautiful.
Janine.
Yes, yes, yes.
Hi, this is Kimmy. Um, I was listening to what you were saying and recalling feeling very similar. And um, originally, your question was, does anybody have any, little tidbits or something that might help me? And I thought to myself that in the past, what I had done was in the moment when I began to feel that, I think you said, like, it made you feel really icky, like it just was a negativity that you really didn't want to absorb was coming from this person and the way they were behaving toward you. And something that helped me was to, I mean, I think I kind of do this in my mind, but I pulled myself into what I would call like the observer's view. And I saw myself and how I wanted to be. And I saw this person and really like observing them for, you know, their behavior and where they were coming from. And just recognizing that that person is not in the same place that I am. If they were, they wouldn't be acting this way. And somehow just being able to be in that observer's place, kind of seeing it outside of the emotion that it oftentimes created for me. It's kind of like what Adriana said about contemplation. Being in the observer mode is kind of partly that, because you're really looking at it from outside of the feeling, so you can step out of that for just a moment and just kind of see it for what it is. That has helped me tremendously, and it took practice for me, but when someone acts that way, I just always remember that I am responsible for how I respond, for how I behave, no matter what. It's not my responsibility for the person, their behavior, but I'm responsible for my own behavior and my response to how they're behaving. And so, in order to not absorb whatever is happening with them, or their energy or their negativity, or have it trigger anything in myself, going into this contemplative place, this observing mode, really seemed to help me. And with practice, I was able to stay calm. I was able to see that person, whatever is happening with them that's making them behave in this manner, is not a reflection of you. And then it gave me a chance to not absorb or have feelings about it. It's not really avoiding it, it's just seeing it for what it is. It's not deflecting it or anything like that. It's understanding it from just this observant view. And I don't know if that helps you, but I found it very helpful.
That does help, Kimmy. Thank you so much. I'm good at kind of that kind of imagery or conceptual type thinking. I can relate to that for sure, and I feel that. I feel that's not, it's just not me. It's just not who I am. Like, people that know me know that's not who I am. So, and I know that's not who I am to go there. I was even disappointed with myself when I did go there for, I mean, it had to be like a few minutes. And I was like, oh, I'm going to where he is, and not honoring myself, and knowing that's not who I am. And I just came right out of it once I could see myself, because it was like, oh no, no, that's not me. I don't want to do that. Why am I doing that? So, yes, thank you so
I,
much.
I'm finding that kind of negative behavior can happen not just in the workplace, but in the grocery store, in the gas line. You can come across someone who will just be, they're in their emotion, they're in their fear, or wherever their thinking is. And um, the one thing that I don't want to do in those situations is I want to stay in my place of peace. I'm looking at the world the way that I want and feeling about the world the way I want to feel every day. And so I don't want to give over to that, as I work really hard to, get out of that place. And I know that if energetically and in my own behavior, if I put off um, the right, you know, positivity because I'm coming from that place, then and I believe that Jesus really wants us to do that, come from a place of calm and understanding. And the only way we can do that, or the only way I'll speak for myself, the only way I can do that is to pull myself, visually, like I was saying, into a place where I'm just seeing you for where you are with no judgment. Like, I'm not judging you. You're not less than me, but you're just in a place that I'm not. And so I'm just going to let you be in that place. And I'm just going to sit over here and I'm going to stay in my beautiful gratitude and love. And when you're done, you'll walk away and I won't feel any different because I stayed out of that. So I hope that helps you.
Yes, it did. Excellent. Very good. Thank you. Thank
Hey,
you.
Janine, I have a suggestion too. Um, I didn't actually, sorry, I've been like in and out of sleep this morning, so I didn't actually catch what exactly happened, but I have a feeling you had a trigger and responded in a way that you didn't want to respond. And
Yes, it was more, even I got myself out of that, but it was more that it lingered on after that moment of attack. And
okay,
but yeah, I know where you are, Tamara. You know me, I doze sometimes early, so that's okay.
I'm going to suggest this emotional processing tool that I got from the it's from the personal development school from this woman who teaches it. It's her method, and it's brilliant and amazing for exactly this thing. So the first step is ask yourself, how do I feel? Which it sounds to me like you've got that covered. You're really good with that. And then the second thing is to ask yourself, what am I making this mean? And it could be anything. So then in this case, this work is really around well, it's centered around attachment trauma, and there are certain sort of like negative core beliefs that we carry. But it could be, and you could make it mean anything. It could mean I'm being disrespected. It could mean I'm not safe. It could mean, um,
I would say both those. I'm being disrespected, and I'm not safe.
Yeah. And then you ask yourself, oh, what else could it mean? And that sounds like the kind of stuff that Kimmy was saying, where it's just like, okay, this person's in their own space. It's not really about me. And then you ask yourself for evidence of the opposing story. How do I know that it could mean this other thing, or it could mean whatever number of other things you've come up with that it could mean? So you're looking, because the subconscious mind likes sort of like it's programmed by experience and emotion and imagery. So if you give it concrete proof that it could mean something else, you're starting to sort of loosen that, because this automatic response that you have is just a program in the subconscious mind that was programmed a long time ago that just keeps running. So if you give it concrete proof of another way to go, and really valid evidence for that, it can start to loosen up and reprogram. So you look at opposing evidence to the story, and then you look at opposing evidence to the belief. How are you safe? How has he shown you respect in the past? How have you felt safe in this relationship with him in the past? How are you safe in your work? And it could be like very like small things as well, like I'm safe because we had that conversation yesterday and I felt safe there. It's safe because look at all, this time and this time and this time that he did show me respect. So literally the concrete evidence. And then you ask yourself, what do I need? What do I need in this situation? And then you find strategies for your needs. You either communicate your need to him, or you make a strategy for yourself. Like for sometimes for me, my need is not to do that again. I need to not do that again. So I'm going to have a strategy to do something different or something. Like that's hard because you're reprogramming. But like for me, sometimes the need is I need to speak up for myself sooner, or I need to ask that person to do this thing differently or whatever. But anyway, I'm throwing that out there because it's amazing and it really works. And then apparently it takes 21 days to reprogram the subconscious mind. So if you do this work where you kind of sit down every day for like, I don't know, you could even be 5-10 minutes, and you just go through this process. What do I make it mean? What else could it mean? Or you just list the opposing evidence. List all the times that you are safe in that relationship, all the times where you have been respected. You do it for 21 days. I'm pretty sure you will see a huge difference, because she has a huge school of people that all do this work, and everybody's like mind blown about how they're able to change all their automatic responses. And I myself have had huge shifts. So anyway, I offer that to you.
Thank you, Tamara. That was awesome. Excuse me. Can you back channel me her who she is? And I would love to get a more formal, outline of that, and we'll go to her website or wherever.
Sure.
But that sounds wonderful.
That's awesome. That's the same teachings I was coming off of too.
Yeah, I like the practical sitting down, and I was saying that I think that I need to write down and think about this, think through it. And like I think, I don't know if you heard me say, yeah, my guy Bernard was helpful in strategizing business wise how to address certain things, because there were certain holes in my business. So that was something that I did need to address and I could do better. So that instead made me feel really good, because I was like, oh, okay, well, this happened and that happened. And maybe if that hadn't happened, then there wouldn't have been this blow up. So practically, that was really helpful. But digging down into me and these responses that are automatic, that have been programmed to me for a long time to frame things a certain way, I could definitely see where I could shift that. So yeah, thank you, Tamara.
This has been really interesting to listen to all of these different ideas. I think Adriana, who in the beginning mentioned how she sat down with Lee and Lee just listened and wrote down what she was saying. I think that's pretty much well, pretty similar to the same process. Some of us are better at writing, some of us are better at talking seriously. And I think whatever works is important. I want to say something about in the about the text. In the beginning of the textbook, there's a series of footnotes there because it was actually in chapter 2. And this material that was in the original chapter 2 that was dictated to Helen didn't necessarily make it out as clearly as the second edition that we're now working with, the COA book, when we do that. If that doesn't mean anything, please let me know and I'll clarify that. But there's a discussion there about being possessed. And I found it really enlightening, and it was just a footnote, really, but it was about how, because Helen, who wrote the book, the scribe, was still acting and reacting with the psychoanalyst and psychologist's approach to figuring out the junk that's in our head that we want to get rid of. This footnote says something really profound, I thought, and that is that the ultimate wish for people is that God possess us. Never heard that before quite like that. And then it went on to say that unfortunately is one of the prime targets of our ego. In other words, the ego doesn't want us to be possessed by God. So it distorts that image like possession by an evil spirit is awful. Don't let that happen to you. Or other examples like that, being possessed by a person, a body, even sexual, we'll just say sexual troubles that you have with someone else because you're possessing their body and doing all kinds of distorted things. And I'll leave that alone too. But the idea of being possessed by God, what does that mean? And then today's lesson is rest in God. And to me, it's kind of like a lesson that's halfway to that ultimate wonderful place where we feel that God is watching us so carefully. Basically, we're in his hands and he's taking care of everything. And it's okay that we made mistakes. He forgives us because he never condemns us. They tell us that. And I think sometimes we can, I know I've spent a lot of time, I've got about 18 books of journaling where I've written down so much stuff about myself, and at one point hating myself or loving myself and all of these different things. But at some point it starts to get clear that there's a feeling that we're looking for and not a technique to be possessed by God. And at that moment, it seems to simplify the whole process, but it takes enough study of what the problem was to be able to say, I'm ready to give it all to God and really to be in God's hands. Now, one of the things Tom said often is that we're looking to become, we're told that we are created by God and that we are perfect, whole, and complete. When I think of that statement, let's just say we anthropomorphize that and say, okay, God is a man. All right. So God has this man that we're just imaging for a minute. It's got two arms. Each arm has a hand, got two legs, got knees, got feet, and so on. So if God is the whole thing, it doesn't mean that everybody gets to act like God or be like God. So that some of us are the arms. Arms can be used for loving. Arms can be used for hating by beating someone. Some of us are like the legs, and we can play with that image. What I'm getting at is we can be perfectly whole and complete as the way God wants us to be, which may be more like the arms than the legs. The legs could be what you run away from if someone's abusing you. You don't let them keep on abusing you. What I'm trying to say is the idea of being perfect, whole, and complete doesn't mean to me perfect like God. Perfect that in every way, no matter what anybody says to me, it doesn't bother me. It's more like, what's her name down there? Santiago, Superman. Everything's perfect as long as we don't have any kryptonite around. That's, although I love that symbol, and I used to draw Superman when I was a kid, just cartoony. What we're trying to do is not necessarily be perfect for everybody. We just need to feel comfortable that God loves us so much that He's willing to possess us, and that we're all one because God does possess all of us. And each of us is possessed by God, each in his own or her own way that is the most comfortable thing. Some people have to be very loud. Some people have to be very soft. Some people speak very quickly, especially when they're speaking in Spanish. Right, Adriana? And some people speak so slowly, they'll put me to sleep. And so each of us has our own way. We're perfect in that that's the way God made us, but we're also, in a way, perfectly different from other people. But we're only different in terms of our body and the way we express, but we're also the same in that we're made of love, and our goal is love. Loving other people, being loved by other people. That's one of the reasons we come here and we start off in the morning to find other people who love us, even if we're not loving ourselves at the moment, and then come away feeling better about ourselves. And, here's to you, Janine. Um, Also, I can remember something else that I learned from another program many, many years ago. Whenever I was carrying a resentment in my mind, and I was thinking, that guy shouldn't have done it, or she should have said this instead of that, and why in the world are they? And then it even descends into obscenities and so on. He said, those kinds of feelings about other people and those kinds of thoughts are taking up space in my brain rent free, and I'm going to evict them. So it puts an expression about another person where it belongs, because it's either in our mind or it's not. If it's not in our mind and spirit, it's not bothering us. Poof, who cares? That's what they think, it's fine. If I don't have that attitude, instead I'm constantly repeating, how dare they do that to me? Who do they think they are? Then they are taking up space rent free in my brain. And I'm going to get rid of them. I'm kicking them out of that apartment because they don't belong there. I'm not supposed to be harboring that kind of stuff. If I don't, then I'll be a happier person. I'll let that person be whoever he wants to be. But I can also be who I want to be. So those are my thoughts. I think the discussion this morning was just full of all kinds of approaches and good thoughts, and I'm really getting a lot out of it. Well, thank you for being here. That's it.
Thank you, Bob. That was great. I always love how I don't know where you're going sometimes, but you always bring it back home. So, yeah, thanks so much. And
Lee's been saying that all his life about me.
I'm
Yeah, that
sorry.
was great. And I would say, yeah, I think, I'm just one of those people. I think I have a stubborn mind. Maybe I have to hit it from with all modalities, writing, meditation, Course in Miracles. I gotta really like attack it from all angles. So yeah, but that was very helpful. Thank you, Bob.
Does anyone have anything divine to say to us today?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, good. I'm so happy that I came in here this morning and I've just been thinking all these things like, man, when I don't come in here, my day is just really not the same because all these beautiful people are messengers and you guys all have messages for me. And even though I didn't hear the beginning of Janine's story, it didn't matter because what you guys had for her was for me as well. I'm so stubborn and I need to attack all things from all angles. And man, I'm just so grateful for everything you guys said. Like, those people are taking up space in my brain rent free for no reason. So I'm kicking them out, Bob.
That is so
That's
cool.
divine of you to do
Amen
that.
to that. Let's kick them out.
No, but like send them out in love. Like it's all love,
Yeah,
anyways.
yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure, for
It's
sure.
all love. Like, because I tend to kick people out in an angry way, but I think it's more like I'm sending you out with love. Like, it's so beautiful. And there's an
Like,
eclipse
thank you for
today.
your message. Bye. Like, thank you for your message. Bye.
No, there's a solar eclipse today, I think, and eclipses are all about like bringing out everything into the light and new beginnings, and it's like beautiful. I'm picturing like a caterpillar coming out of its chrysalis, and becoming a butterfly. It's like it's for all of us. I'm so grateful.
Yeah. That's why we need to contemplate everything. It's funny because everything that we have to share, that we had shared today, has to do as well in different forms on how to realize the truth. I mean, we rest in God today, and we are as God created us because we are God. We are part of that same source. And so He is in, out, whatever side you want to see it. So when you think that you're A, and then I mean, you can imagine yourself being an A in conflict, and then you know that you're C, the last letter of the alphabet, because you're learning from A Course in Miracles that you are peace and everything is to be forgiven instead of being resisting or whatever. So if you meditate and you remain silent, quiet, and in a still mode, you can find the C, that you are the C. But when you are with your eyes open, doing things, doing chores, doing things around the house, or all of those things, you cannot meditate. So you don't get to see quite well the C that you are. So you need to contemplate the B, the C, the E, the if, all the letters of the alphabet
Yes,
in order
yes.
for you to get in the realization that you are the C, the last letter, if you want to see it like that. Contemplation is equals to meditation, but it's in a like in a reverse mode. So it's beautiful because we do have a lot of ways to do that, and it has to do only with the insist the determination, the intention within ourselves that constantly be in this process instead of reacting the ego content, taking responsibility to just hold on, what is this all going on here, what is happening here, why I'm feeling like this, and start to question yourself if you did good or bad. It's like asking God, what is this for? Why do I have this content right now? What is that I'm not seeing here, God? What is the light in this? Because in the eclipse, in the night, in whatever darkness that you can find, you will always see light if you will, if you want. So it's beautiful. Thank you very much, everybody, for all the sharings. It has been really fun to uh, observe these two lessons with the lenses of contemplation, too.
Well, it's been a
Also,
wonderful.
oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead, Divine. That's all right.
I thought of something that I don't remember if it was you or Tom said one day, but it was from the book of like when you something about like if you don't want to forgive somebody, you have to hold them in this mental prison, and then you're in there as well because you have to like keep an eye on them, make sure that they stay in there, and then you're both stuck in this prison. And I also pictured that as well with what we were talking about. Like, um, I'm not sure if I'm making any sense.
That's all right.
Yes, you are. I get what
Enough
you're
sense to
saying.
us.
I just wanted
Lee
to say,
has a quick.
everybody, I have to hit the road,
Okay,
Have a
and
good one,
but
Janine.
thank you
don't
so
hit it
much,
too hard.
everybody, for helping
Thank
me.
you,
I feel
Janine.
I feel renewed this morning,
You are
and I
blessed.
appreciate you so much, all of you. Love all of you.
We love you,
Love
Janine. We
you.
love
We love
you.
you.
Bye bye. Have
Bye,
a
So
beautiful
Janine.
day.
we get started
Bye.
here every morning at about 6:30, and we've been working our way through the workbook lessons. Today's 120 days into the year. Tomorrow will be 121, and I'll be here at 6:30 reading that workbook lesson. I want to welcome Ariel. Looks like you're brand new to Clubhouse. Me and my dad. I'm Lovely and Lee up at the top. My dad is Bob, and we've been here reading, well, a little bit out of this book for more than a year now. And in the middle of last summer, we started reading the main text, worked our way through the rest of the text to the end of the year. And on January 1st, we started with the lessons. I'm really glad you came and joined us. I'd love to hear, anything you'd like to say. I know you came in a little bit late, and that's no big deal. But I did want to know if you've heard of our book before, and if you've heard of A Course in Miracles and you've read it. If so, how did the book find you? You'll need to come off mute. There you go. You got it. Hi, welcome.
Good morning. Actually, believe it or not, I was referred by Andy Joy,
Can you
and
speak louder?
that's what's crazy. I have it on the loudest, and I don't know why it keeps doing this. I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
much
Okay.
better. Thanks.
Okay. Andy Joy recommended joining this course. So this is my first time hearing about it. So I'm normally not always up so early, but I kind of woke up late because she did tell me about this particular course starting in the morning. And, I'm just happy to be here. So I want to thank you guys for welcoming me.
Well, we're happy to have you. And we happen to record these. So if you feel like joining us later on in the day, we've got it recorded out to our Facebook group and a couple other places. The links are up above. And in that box where it says Lovely One Twitch, which I can change now to our permanent URL, A Course in Miracles.live. But you are welcome to come back and come in whenever you can, and that's all good. And I really appreciate you joining us.
No problem. Thank you.
My pleasure. All right. Well, we've had another great day. We don't have to go, but if you've got to be on your way, I wish you a wonderful day. It's 8:08, and tomorrow I'll be here reading lesson 121. Have a great day, everybody.
Create a great day. Namaste. Bye.
Thank you, Tom. Namaste. We love you.
I'm going to stay for a little while. If anyone wants to stay and talk a little bit. This is a really fascinating topic this morning, and I was coming in it, from several different points of view, and I think that's one of the best things about having a room devoted to a topic so that we can look at it and get different points of view. And I find that's helpful. Um, and there were a lot of different ones, and that's great. I welcome that a lot. Let's see, there was one other thing that there's an interesting Indian tradition, and I couldn't tell you which Indian tribe, but where when they get into a fight, two people, and they're really hating each other, they both have to hold on to a stick. And standing there, if one puts his hand down, then he talks. The person holding the stick, and I may have this backwards, but it's been a long time, but the other person is not allowed to talk when the first is talking. So it it allows the two people to talk about what they object to, let's say, in the other person or whatever. And sometimes that helps. In my case, we have a different way. My wife and I, we have in our living room, we have two big, very comfortable pseudo leather chairs, and they're brown, being that color. And so when we're having an argument and we each are kind of talking into space, but at the other person, and not really honoring each other very well, we just, one of us will say, "You want to go to the brown chairs?" And the other always obliges, and we do. And so we go to the brown chairs, which immediately just kind of relaxes us. We're able to speak to each other in a peaceful way because we have decided that the brown chairs is a peaceful way for us to communicate. It was just a deal we made with each other. And we have both found that to be very helpful because no two people are supposed to agree every time to everything. And sometimes it can be very personal, or as several have expressed, it can bring up some nasty memories for some reason, and they come out of our mouth. And we all know what that's like too. So I just wanted to share that that has really helped us. We are in our 50th year of marriage, going to take a cruise in a couple of months to celebrate that. But that's one of the reasons that it works well, because one of the most important things in any relationship is to be able to communicate peacefully, hopefully. And whether somebody else needs to hear this, you need to hear this. I'm telling you this for your own good, and all that kind of silliness, which is usually directed to the wrong person. It's really, they need to speak up for their own good. It works both ways, and this world can be more peaceful if we can find ways to establish that no matter what, in this particular location at least, we're in the brown chairs. And even if we're in a car and we can't even get out, and we're getting into a tiff, we can still say, let's play brown chairs. And we just take a deep breath and we talk peacefully. I think that that's the kind of lesson we all need to remember and utilize because it really, really works. And I know it's worked for us for a very long time. So I offer that also for when you're carrying around somebody else's thoughts or carrying around them in your brain rent free. Um, that's not necessary anymore. There's a way to fix that. So thanks for listening. Anybody else want to add? We can.
Um, I love the brown chairs, Bob. That's such a great, like,
Yeah,
little,
beautiful.
right? Like, oh my gosh, it's just a symbolic thing. Hey, when we're sitting in this little area, let's be at peace. And even the stick, what a brilliant idea. All these little things, man. You just, I'm just receiving all of your wisdom. I'm grateful. And Yeah, I feel a shift in me today, and I think it's beautiful. Like I'm just setting myself free. So yeah. Anyway, you could keep talking.
Thanks. No, no, it's all right. No, no, no. I will say Lee knows about the talking stick because we did. I think it was Mankind Project where I learned about it, and that's a fairly interesting group. Both spent some time together. Oh, about I don't know, 10 years ago, Lee, something like that. 8, 10 years ago, and we
At
learned things
least.
there. Yeah, we learned things there. We both have been in some 12-step groups, and we both learned things like this at Unity and Unity Church. Last night, Susie and I went out for dinner, and everything was really, really nice. She loves it when I take her out, if for no other reason. She doesn't have to do the dishes or cook and stuff. And she's for the most of the time, she is a happy housewife. It's what she loves to do. She taught for many years in college, and she's retired from all that, and she can relax. Um, but I did something that wasn't to her liking. It was at the time to my liking, and I found out later on how much it was not to her liking, and I asked her to forgive me for it. It was another table next to us, not too far, and they started asking some questions, and um, it became a conversation. And then finally, I decided to go over to their table and kind of tell the full story, which took about 8 or 10 minutes, which really did not make Susie very happy. And it wasn't really very nice to ignore her either, because that's the way it appeared. But I like telling stories, as you all know. So that's what happened, and I will try not to do something like that again. By the same token, I think that they got a lot out of what I was saying, and they were interesting people too. And at first, we were talking to each other, but when all is said and done, um, I shouldn't have done it quite the way I did, and I will try and make amends today, in some small way at least. I don't have to
Make
go
her
out and.
breakfast. Make her breakfast.
Oh my God,
Oh,
no, we can do that. We can definitely do that. Yes, I got your order in, Adriana. And if you want to come down here from Boston to North Carolina, you can join us. Let me know anytime. But yes, that's a great idea. That way we will have at least a full meal together. See, that's the way it works out. It's a great idea, Adriana. Thank you. So those are just a couple of more thoughts of kind of being together and making it peaceful and nice. It's not always going to be agreeable, but it can become agreeable when one person understands the other person's point of view and the other person understands your point of view. The only time there's really heated discussions is when you have a different point of view about the way things ought to be in some situation. And Susie and I have very different points of view about a lot of things. And we don't reject the other person's point of view. We don't have to agree, but we don't reject it. It's their right. Everybody has a right to their point of view, even if it's stupid. Oh, I didn't say that. That slipped out by accident. Just a joke, and that was just for you, Divine.
thanks,
um,
Bob.
it's the way it's the way human beings are. Come on, we're not ready to walk on water yet, but we're getting closer to the pond. Okay, so that's all I have
Okay,
to say for this morning.
I'm going to enjoy my peanut butter sandwich with banana because I never had this before in my life as breakfast. So I suggest you all have a beautiful breakfast. I'm gonna
I,
say goodbye for now.
okay.
But thank you very much. And please, please, please make her breakfast. Say I love you. And have a beautiful morning with Susie, please.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Bye
I
bye.
I always listen
I'm
to the
sorry.
women in my life. Bye. And I'm gonna leave also. I think Adriana made me moderator. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna be
It's
leaving
all good.
quietly now. Does that end? Oh, it's back to you, Lee.
I got
Okay.
no problem.
Thank you so much. All right. Have a
Wonderful
wonderful
day, everybody.
weekend.
We'll be here
Bye.
tomorrow at 6:37, getting started again on Workbook Lesson 121. Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful day.
I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye, everybody. So much love. The best is yet to come, y'all.